SDY with those dualies got boosted up on B. Meanwhile, Glaive is just having a little look towards mid, hoping to gather information, which he has. He spotted one player in underpass. But there are a couple more where that came from. So Glaive needs to be just a little careful. Further information, he will now be able to drop back to his teammate, and in the meantime, ENCE has all this ramp information. So that means the other A player will be able to help Glaive here in Connector.
Spotted though, still gets 2 kills, but it's a 2 for 2. So Yambo and Mattis explode out of con with a kill apiece. And now Kaspersky's going to be called upon, realistically, with those Julies to try and remove a head. The timing on that duck is so brutal for him. And 3 separate angles for him to contend with. Can't get it done, barely any damage scratching the surface. Second pair of Julies though is now activated in from SDY's hands. And he's going to keep fnatic honest. Bomb has just been planted down, so tons of time on the clock for this retake. They don't have to get too overzealous just yet. Separate peaks coming in, but nice counter frag in from Blame F. Allowing Mattis to take the point of call and then just swooping in for the frags. So fnatic take the pistol. Early warning system. With their bulk of grenades being tossed out so early, I mean, ENCE just didn't really have too many other opportunities or options available. I am a bit surprised, though, that they're now starting to push up on the catwalk. Maybe because they haven't spotted an A hit just yet, so they're going to try and keep things interesting. And Blame F shut down in the back from Glaive, who was sneaking around the back of B Apps. And that's definitely going to go in for it now. A player advantage. Still yet to get the bomb planted down, and there's no real utility on the T side now. So they have to put the bulk of their aggression over on the CT spawn to try and deal with these defenders. And in amongst all of this chaos, it's ENCE that will prevail. It looked like they were basically tapping out of the round, but they had second thoughts. Absolutely, but SDY, oh no. He's about to walk straight into Mattis, who spots him, and that eagle will punish. Poddy wants to try and deal the fatal damage and at least avenge his fallen teammate. But a 1-for-1 early doors with the lack of weaponry on fnatic, they're not going to mind that at all. SK should have been picking up the fallen weapon, but that's not going to happen this time around. And Kaspersky now has options. Takes his kill, backs off, keeps the player advantage. The rest of his team are nice and healthy. fnatic trying to get through Connector, and Blame F has taken the head off of Natsu. This gives them a way forward onto the site. They still need to deal with Glaive though, but he's playing more passive on the Tetris for the rotations.
Oh no, they didn't expect him, but Blame F able to turn it round. It's only briefly though, because ENCE gets up above. And now Fear with this Galil knows where one man is. He's got to try and find the other at the same time. Poddy's trying to combine with his teammate. He's not giving them the fights right now. Finally, they spot him out. The first kill comes, and Poddy hunts him down for the trade. Nothing that Fear can do at the end there as Poddy finds him, and ENCE find their second on the board.
It's also funny to see that it's like that AK's a hot potato, you know, like
yeah.
Fear takes damage, drops it to Yambo. Yambo then takes damage, he's like, all right, have it back. HP. There's not much I can do about this one. But Mattis, a player that they would have been relying on to crack open the site with his entry prowess, or prowess, I should say, has been dealt fatal blows in ramp. And considering that Fear is so low on HP, as we mentioned earlier, it's looking good for ENCE to not just win this round, not just to trade up to another couple of AKs, but to have a 4-1 lead with losing no players in the process. It doesn't get much better than what ENCE have just pulled out in this round. This is massive.
Just like that, ENCE are going to have a comfortable round win. They'll be able to build up money. They'll be able to get out to a good lead here. Counter-terrorists win. They need to be careful because he could go down after time. Just $200 for Fear.
And just shy of 100 ADR. You had a blinder yesterday. And they'll be leaning on him quite a bit here to rinse and repeat if they want to get themselves back into this. The flashbang is going to afford Poddy the peak, and Blame F dealt fatal blows, and Poddy just pieces out of there. Not a single point of health lost in that trade.
This time, similar struggles as he gets shut down early. And ENCE happy to just sit on that. Happy to sit in their standard setup. And look at Mattis. That is the sort of freedom he is allowed. Sneaks out onto A, but quickly traded. They will be watching Connector. Big damage done, and more info gathered.
Warwick on the brink of going 0-7. SDY puts the fatal blow onto Jambo, who can't get that AWP activated, and this is starting to look grim. It's starting to look very bleak indeed, considering a low HP Borup has now been finished off from the high ordnance of Poddy. And the only round that Fnatic have picked up, keep this in mind, was the pistol. Since then, it's 6 unanswered rounds, 6 rifle rounds.
It looks like that's where they'll be executing, hoping they can just force this quick plant.
Picking up the pace, kind of forced into necessity with the weapons at their disposal. ENCE may get caught with grenades out. 2 players here. Poddy somehow survives. Missing the second shot, but the sidearm is out. And ENCE and Poddy both somehow keep their ground on the CT boxes. And then he goes back in for more. This isn't the pistol round, but he's got a 3K with the USP.
Making sure he denies the plant as well, so Fnatic's aim completely taken out of that round, but it looks like they're going straight back to A here, and this time they get a clean opener.
Gotta do something with it though. It's all well and good getting on the site, but they do have the AKs now to play with, a ton of grenades as well at their disposal. The cleanest of rounds that we've seen on the side of Fnatic. And keep in mind as well, coming into this round, the last 7 in a row to ENCE with only 1 bomb plant in those 7 rounds. It has been domination. A chance now, though, to turn their fortunes on its head as Mattis gets aggro. Damage inflicted to Poddy. That may keep ENCE at arm's reach. Their finances are good, but they have AKs they don't want to throw away alongside the AWP. Losing SDY pretty much stops any hope of them clutching this round, especially on low tide. It's about how much damage can they do. Blame F just doesn't react to Glaive. He didn't even shoot a single bullet across towards him. What's going on here?
Oh, they got contained on the site as well. A couple of players fall with the bomb. It could be costly for Fnatic because they have to reinvest basically all their money to make sure they can buy again here. It looks like Fnatic have realized, okay, the defaults weren't working. Let's go for these side plays.
Oh, that's why you highlighted him, Hawker, because he is a live wire. Explosive, but Glaive with 2 is keeping Fnatic honest. Fear is going to bring it back into an even keel, though. 3-on-3, but the plant was denied. Because of Glaive's aggression, the flash and Molotov is on point, though. And Fear will douse the flames with his AK rounds and goes back in for more. Much better on the side of Fnatic, but they still need to deal with ENCE. But he will fall prey to the AK of Blame F, and I think you're spot on. And they can still definitely retrieve this and remedy the situation. Slow into this game, perhaps, but the best of 3 does afford them to have a slow start. Borup, he's now posted up to 2 frags. No real hope of surviving as the Molotov was swelling around his feet. Glaive's going to take the opportunity. Oh, I thought for a second he was going to push through on the B-Apps, but he thinks better of that choice and just plays down with the smoke.
Haven't been able to see him as best yet, but he hasn't had that all the time. Poddy sneaked past and he actually gets the kill close quarters. It wasn't even a no-scope.
Bro, that must have been a ridiculous jump scare flick, like just pure reaction speed from Poddy. I'd be curious to see that on the replay. We did see him land a 6 shot through the smoke against Astralis. It was probably the only highlight that ENCE had in that entire map. Did secure their first round. And now a flash down into the ramp. Fnatic may be a player down, but they're still dangerous. They have the entry frag element of Mattis, who's been feeling himself these last few rounds. Blame F and Fear alongside. Fear, surprisingly, top fragging for his team as Mattis comes out and continues to twist the knife. That entry on A is huge. It's forced away 2 rotations from the B side. Glaive gives it up. Instead, playing from the market, jumps back out again, but with 15 seconds. Fnatic have got to pick up the pace here. Molotov's out. It's going to spread Glaive from the rest of the team, but Poddy connects for a second time. And with HEs flying around and bullets whizzing past the eyes of Blame F, he is going to lose to time itself, as ENCE will get back onto winning track.
Impressive for him to be able to get away with that kill. He's having a good game for himself. It's actually Glaive and ENCE top fragging for the team, and there goes Blame F. Out on mid, able to at least find a 1-for-1 trade in a position that Fnatic has struggled in. Fnatic taking this A side of the map, and ENCE aren't watching this right now.
Yeah, they fully committed to mid control. Got the opening kill and kind of bait them into this false sense of security, but it trades back and forth. It's that man once again, Poddy. The young Finn showing why ENCE has so much confidence and so much belief in this guy. But eventually Mattis has had enough. Engages into more entries and clutches around down to give fnatic 4 on their T side. I do 3 players over here with Mattis and Sandwich, 2 players on CT boxes. Looks like Glaive is going to try and bait this, and he does take a headshot onto Blame F. Of course, won't finish him off with a Glock at that range, but it may draw away a rotation. Indeed. And they are going to divide and conquer what remains of this A site. It's not too much. Whereas one player was in Sandwich, now none remain. And Yambo on low HP, Borup and Blame off. Not really faring any better either. They're already into a position on low HP where they're thinking about just saving because at least they can keep their Kevlars alive into the next one. They got a pair of Julies as well, but man, you're 8-4 behind and the best you can muster up is to save 3 weapons and not even attempt to go for this.
High-risk position in Sandwich, and I feel like the teammates' fight there is everything. If a CT kill comes in for Fnatic and they're just able to survive, then those ENCE players are going to have to start pushing the site and being a little concerned about that. But instead, they get this opener, and then Mattis feels like he has to activate, but there's not the same distraction. There's not the same ability for him to really catch those players off guard in the same way.
And although he's stuck in the smoke right now, he's going to fire off some shots, see if anything does connect for a bit of intel. Nothing forthcoming. Now Fee's going to be called upon. Has connected the first shot. That's going to wind and wound Kaspersky as he pushes through. The flash, though, is so on point. Mattis couldn't see a single thing. And with a smoke down onto Cap, Borup has to leave the premises. This should open the bomb site up, but Yambo lands a beautiful shot onto Nietu, putting that second scout into use. And with a 3-on-3, not ideal weaponry to retake with, no kits either, but they do have a smoke to try and divide these Ts. Second smoke now replenished onto Marketplace window. And that's going to funnel these CTs together if they want to push out. And Poddy can sense his prey around the corner. Wants to pounce in, but instead goes behind from Blame F, who spins in for a second. And because Glaive got that kill, they know exactly where he is, but they're playing against time as well, and Glaive will know it. Jambo jumps onto the site, but it's a tickle, and so the round is going the way of Glaive, whatever happens from this point forward. ENCE take 10.
They have to just pick up a couple of pistols into this round. And whoa, okay. Yambo actually nearly able to get a kill off the back of that. Ooh, Borup gets one. Careful, ENCE.
That was unfortunate. I think it was Kaspersky threw a grenade into window. There was a player pushing out a window. It bounces off the guy's shins back onto Kaspersky's face. And so he nearly blows himself up. And now Borup, though, is putting that deagle to use, though. He wants to try and run and gun it down with Mattis on the P250. Out of nowhere, ENCE now trailed by a player in a round where the weaponry was non-existent on Fnatic. The sideswipe in from Nietzsche, who can try and close this round down and put an end to the madness. But he is going to be forced out of position. Molotov designated to jungle, but the rotation is already through. He does get caught, but it's just the MAC-10. HG up and over. The Deagle's allowed to shine one more time as he dulls the senses of Nietzsche. And now Glaive, who's had a crazy map on 15 frags, has 30 seconds to try and break Fnatic once more. He's going to wait for that smoke to clear first, though. He's unaware as to where both CTs are. Heard the Deagle raining out from window, and both players have rotated to B. Oh, they've overthought this, but Glaive doesn't know this himself. He's still clearing his angles. He's still doing his due diligence, and now they hear the plant coming in. Now, Fnatic, please don't peek them one by one. Play together. Wait. It's going to take a while. You don't have a kit. But considering the low HP on Mattis, they need to make sure the counter frag is there, or perhaps not, because Mattis just nails him himself, and Fnatic steal this round out of thin air.
Wow, that could be such a lifeline for Fnatic. It's like they're playing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Vince, and they've just got the eco round win lifeline on the board, because there's no way they should have won that round. They had no right of winning that round.
Now the smoke comes in, but from the CTs. And they have players behind this. Both the Borup is also in. They're not watching onto B apps anymore. They're convinced and confident this is going to be an A hit. And the final destination from ENCE is they've already fully committed to this. The bomb is trailing back now, though, from the ramp. But the reason I'm saying they've committed is because they've utilized pretty much all of their grenades. They only have 1 smoke and 2 flashes left. You've got to push forward here. And they're starting to get dissected. It's Mattis with a scalpel. Goes back out with the M4, and a spray is on point for another headshot.
You able to get one back, but again, It is Fnatic who are favored right now. They're going to swing together, try and trade, but Netu tucks into cover. He needs some assistance, and it's SDY to help him out. The headshot's landing, and now Blame F has it all to do. And the smoke in his face will obscure his vision. Sure, you can go up top, but ENCE might expect that. So Blame F decides to go back down. There's a gap on the backside, but Blame F not ready for it. A turnaround for ENCE, one that I didn't think they were going to find, but Fnatic feed them, and ENCE will take that all day long. Yeah, you're right. They really should have been able to converge better there on the Fnatic side, and now that could be costly. ENCE going in for this A-sided execute. We do have Mattis on the site. He finds one, but quickly traded. Our bomb has been delayed on its approach to the site, though. Here comes the lock from SDY, sneaking into position. He takes two, and that might just be the defining moment of this round.
Oh, Blame is not having a good time. He's not having a good time at all here, Hawker. Like, it feels like a player that is lacking confidence or something is bothering him. We saw that kill earlier when Glaive gets the drop on him. Maybe he was itching his head. He was looking at the minimap like you said. But I've now seen another couple of 1v1s where he's just totally off on his spray. Something does not seem to be right.
We haven't really seen that as much so far in this qualifier. And Fnatic might need it. Ooh, Glaive able to get that early kill. Again, remember, this is Fnatic's pick here. ENCE have got their ever-favored Ancient coming up. Fnatic could be about to bow out. They've bought what they can in this one, but it looks like ENCE are pretty likely to take this over the line at this point in this round.
I mean, we're discussing like something's off with Blame in terms of his aim, but I mean, you really have to shine a bit of a light on Yambo as well, because he is one of the players most people were excited about joining this roster, being reunited with Fia. He's gone down again, 6 and 16 to his name. Is now joint bottom with Borup, who, remember, started at 0 and 8 on this map. Now Fia with the MP9. Alongside Blame are really the only two bastards they have to play with, and Blame goes down without too much of a fight. The same could be said of Fia. And Borup with a FAMAS. An isolated position on middle. And this isn't just looking like a win for ENCE. This is a stomping. One of those pistol rounds going in favor of Fnatic, and they never truly arrived on the server. ENCE have been clinical as they slowly but surely grind out this round and take it 13-6.
Yeah, great showing here from ENCE, and what a team effort it was. And we were saying that we wanted to see the firepower hold up on the ENCE side, because as long as that happens, I feel like I've got faith in them and their team play and their structure, and that's what we saw here.
And moving through already into the cave with these Julies. Kaspersky, oh, he actually wants to go and have a look here as well. He's going to have a peek. He's going to open up the lid, but he finds himself Mattis. And Mattis is not missing in this kind of form right now. Picks up the second frag and just escalates their push towards the B side.
Yeah, those cave fights can be so big on this map, and we're already seeing Mattis prove powerful. And look at Yambo. That is a stunner of a shot out mid. And Mattis continues to just be an absolute nuisance on this B side of the map. 3 kills for him. The one player we said who was really good for Fnatic in the first map, he's carried it over to the second. And if Fnatic wanted to get some confidence early, well, this is the way to do it. A dominant pistol here.
Netu, we saw him have a 3K with the USP in a rifle round, believe it or not, but he won't be adding to that tally here. A 4K on the side of the Slovakian. And Mattis showing that he is going to pick up from where he left off, which is great news if you are Fnatic. You just have to shake that one off, you know, like, basically the first map didn't happen. This is 2 separate best of ones we simply have to win. And so far, so good. Doesn't get much of a chance to do much here in terms of the HEs, and Molly's landing right next to him on the flashbang. Mattis, though, good damage inflicted towards him. I actually thought that grenade was going to land by the feet of Kaspersky, but instead, it's 2 unanswered kills. ENCE not losing a single point of health in the process. Shutting this one down. It's a bit of a bonus round for Fnatic, considering Fear still holding on to the MAC-10, but this could become to an abrupt end sooner rather than later, as they're starting to push into Kaspersky once again. Young is there alongside him with the double. And Yambo, try as he may, is outnumbered, outgunned, and encircled. Glave's going to push him from one side. Had a good idea of that, but can't really do anything about the intel. As Natu takes him a long range, and they can trade up to the AWP. Kaspersky, who's been really solid in Cave so far. I've been impressed with how well he's been holding that with Sundai Young, since they have got the rifles into play. And now trying to take some delayed mid-control. Nietu's position is now known, but there are multiple scavengers here for the CTs. However, with Sundai Young losing his dual partner in mid, he has to back away and give it up. Through into the donut area. Fear doesn't allow him the luxury of survival. And it's looking good for fnatic to immediately answer the call and break ENCE back down to size.
Because it seemed like they were just holding and saying, okay, let's wait to see if there is that aggression. And they never really overextended either. SDY was just waiting around at mid for a little longer, really hoping that someone from Shelf up above would overextend. Never happened. Glaive could be in trouble. Oh, Yambo pulls out the molly. That might actually allow Glaive to get away safely.
Yeah, they definitely have picked up the pace significantly. They're definitely realizing that there is weakness. They can sense it. Looking to try and get out of middle again here. Blame F stuck behind the Molotov, but it's now going to clear. They mollied off the alcove, so they know that that right-hand side is completely bereft of any CTs. They can focus onto Red Room and Donut, but Sundai Young through the smoke takes off the head of Blame.
You get rewarded for these things. Now it is Poddy again with this AWP. This time Yambo here to face him. Poddy decides to go back to a safer angle. With good reason, because a couple of players coming his way and utility, and Yambo was hoping he could win this fight, but Poddy again in a good position to get a pick for his team.
Surprisingly, the timing of that peak. Like, there's a smoke up on the ramp, so ideally you'd like to have the players pushing ramp at the same time, try and throw a little bit of doubt into the mind of Poddy's positioning, but just dry peeking like that, it's not really an angle you can pop flash very easily, so the flash didn't affect him in the slightest. So yeah, fnatic, they've had a really rock-solid T side so far, but this one is a fumble. This one's a bit of a dud. Take nothing away from Poddy, though, on point with the AWP as he was in the first map. And it's good to see, man, because I feel like when he first joined ENCE, he obviously had pretty big shoes to fill. They had, you know, Hades in the mix, who inconsistent AWP, obviously now across the G2 for the major cycle, interestingly. But he didn't have a great start to his ENCE career. So to see him now picking up these kills and starting to shine a little brighter on some of the maps is definitely a good feeling from the neutral's perspective.
Is now a buy back for fnatic, including that AWP of Yambo. Nice to see him getting involved even more. Blame F trying to take more initiative on mid, which is nice to see. The smoke will be wiped. Blame F could be in trouble. That is back-to-back rounds where he goes down, but Borup with a big trade.
Oh, no, Mattis. Uncharacteristic. You bet on him to get that kill all day, every day. Kaspersky passes with flying colours. Yeah, it's his second round in almost an identical position. Smoke banged out by Blame F. He's got to be pretty tilted at this point, but fnatic can still draw this round back in their favour. Now, they're unaware of Glaive's pincer information. This time, it's Poddy against Yambo, but this time in a different position and a different outcome. Yambo evens the odds. Glaive now with a backstab. Kaspersky's up close, so he guesses the wrong way. And Fear Punish now puts Yambo into a 1-on-3. 50 seconds on the clock. Doesn't have control over the bomb either. Has to go into Cave in order to pick it up. And the shot misses. And he will be put down accordingly. ENCE up to 3 rounds now.
That seems to be helping them out nicely. Still needs to be careful on this B site. We did have that prior round where it fell quickly, and Kaspersky has to be careful. He goes down early. Glaive trying to get aggressive, but that's another round where 2 entries go the way of fnatic, and there's simply nothing that ENCE can do.
Well, turns out they were sold snake oil. Not the cure after all, as it's proven lethal. He wants to try and stop the rotation, stop the save. As soon as his team comfortably took the site, he was not pressing into the Red Room side. He was just sat here waiting to deny these weapons. And although he gets one, that's where he will fall. And with 2 save weapons, they'll be fine to rebuy again and replenish a purchase. And that's why Yambo is leading the charge. He wants to make sure there's going to be no survivors. No mercy administered. No prisoners taken. Poddy's about to get backstabbed as well. Oh, the spray, though. Puts him on low HP. Finalized by Mattis. And so, although the money is still in good shape for a buy,
Spambo smokes if an execute comes in, but if you lose those picks so early, it's devastating. And look at Neju through the molly, the run boost through, and he has got complete control of that B side of the map.
wow. Poddy, though. Oh, nearly a collat. He takes a lot of damage himself and fully flashed out. Out comes Barrett, well flashed, and Glaive through the smoke is going to PS2. Skewers, though, on the approach. That was so wild, though, from Neju. I'm going to Google this right now, Walker. Now you've piqued my interest.
I need to know. I need to know if anyone can play this instrument as well and get a live performance. They're hunting, by the way. They really want this. Flame F in spawn, forced off the angle. Meanwhile, Fear. Oh, he's going to wait. He's going to wait patiently. There we go. Finally gets the spray in the back. Flame F actually taken out after time. Only $2,000 for him ahead of the last round of the half.
That game of chicken kind of backfired on the side of fnatic, but they're going to readdress it momentarily. There's no one in middle playing up close, so ENCE aren't privy to this information. They have no intel being gathered. Not that fnatic know this. A well-placed incendiary, though, is going to keep them arm's reach, and now they need to execute with 35 seconds. In good positions here are ENCE. Lots of damage inflicted with the grenades, but it's Mattis that will shred Nietsu first. Yambo and Blame also pick up frags out of nowhere. It was looking so good for ENCE. And now, although Poddy's going to be up close and he's had some really nice flick shots, this is asking so much of him and Kaspersky. 2-on-4. And the close angle from Fia is going to yield the kill onto Poddy. One of the weaker buys on the side of fnatic on this T side, but it looks like it's going to be good enough to get them across the finish line for a 7-5 half lead. He's typically going to be up in cave and also on the Heaven Catwalk area and just causing mayhem and chaos. In the meanwhile, though, the two teams decide they're going to meet in middle. Or it has just been a fake out, though, because although Suntai Young will go down in mid, the rest of his troops are pushed onto the B site, and they will have a plant down momentarily, unless Mattis can get in there, and he can deny it. No one's watching ramp. Oh, that's a huge oversight from ENCE. And that's changed the dynamic of this round entirely. Instead of being able to post up in crossfires, they've got to try and scramble back onto the site again. Meanwhile, Nietu's had a rough game so far with that block, is trying desperately to salvage this. And although Poddy has connected one, he needs to be able to send Blame F packing, and quickly, as all of his teammates have fell around him. Both players are low, though, on fnatic. It is a winnable round for Poddy, who has more health than his two adversaries combined. And a minute left on the clock. Isolates through and delivers for the first kill, and Fear is so low. 17 HP remaining. Poddy's running dry in his magazine as well. Now he falls down to 44. It's such a scrappy 1v1, but Fear somehow survives and lives to tell the tale. So many grenades early on, and both teams trying to force their way down into the ramp side. Matt is playing a little bit more passively, allowing Fear to take this first point of call, replenishing the smoke onto the doors, and Fear's using that on the periphery to get another kill. Stacked up all that cash in the previous round and decided to donate his riches to Yambo's AWP, but is keeping himself afloat with that MP9. 15 kills, and now Yambo, oh, he's took the shot, falls back, but he does have Blame F there alongside him to help him out. There's a bit of a block going on. It was a bit awkward. But Fear again, exploding out, IGL fragging out of his mind. We had Glaive do it in the first map, and now Fear is picking up the slack in the second.
Throwing this aggression in that just seems to be throwing ENCE off their game right now. It is another frag setup for Fear. Finally, he falls at the hands of Poddy, but it's not going to matter because Mattis is set up for an easy one of his own. That is now 10 for fnatic. That'll just make it even more frustrating for ENCE, who now have to go down to pistols. So often in these rounds, you'll see the B execute come in. That looks like it's the call for ENCE here.
Oh, Mattis goes down. I was going to say this should be a bloodbath, but instead, Kaspersky, he decides he wants to give his team a chance, at least for a post-plant. Fear stuck behind the smoke. Can't do too much about this one unless he goes for the wall bang, but maybe doesn't want to give his position away, although it stands to reason that ENCE would anticipate a player would be in cave, especially the rotations now coming to the forefront. The standing of Borup up on the ramp side gets himself an assist alongside BlameF. AK needs to do some serious heavy lifting, and Kaspersky's down to 30. They're playing to try and bait them into a crossfire here with the H2 on the Tech 9. A weakened player gets put out of his misery, and suddenly, out of nowhere, 14 seconds, it's Fear left, and he gets killed in the back from Sundar Young. ENCE, out of nowhere, just slap fnatic across the face and take the round from underneath their nose. It's so odd, isn't it, that Borup is the second up user. That's putting a lot of pressure on his shoulders for being a stand-in. But it's Poddy, not for the first time in this series, is going to get himself across first and deal fatal damage to his opposite number. Now, they've taken Cave, and they have got a kill out of it, but they've lost the site control itself. And so Fear and Mattis have to sit idly by in this smoke, waiting for the reinforcements to arrive. And it is slow, it is stagnant from BlameF and Borup. Borup is still aware and worried about a potential Red Room peak. So he's not coming in to help out his teammates. The bomb now traversing into the site itself, replenishing the smoke, and Sundar Young takes Fear and kills him from the back. Blame is way too slow on this rotation. And it could be a case of saving already.
Oh, especially with Poddy hard scoped on this angle, just spotting Borup briefly. It's such a tight angle, and it's one that won't be required because ENCE have got the round win confirmed now. fnatic have indeed called it off. Limitations, and now ENCE, well, they are going to switch things up. They are going to test this A site, and fnatic, they're playing heavy on mid early, so that A site could be vulnerable.
Oh man, they've made a great read of this one, but they need to have the wherewithal to push through on this and fully commit before rotations can come through. They had good smokes placed down, but they're starting to dwindle away now, and that's allowing Yambo to get up close, and he's going to punish with one and a headshot onto SDY. If ENCE had just pulled the trigger and fully committed behind this push, they would already have the plant down. But they got in their own heads, paralysis by analysis, and fnatic have a chance now to claw their way back.
SDY though, this lurk, 29 seconds remaining. He'll start to spot the A's clear, but I don't think the bomb can make it back. So he might need to do something to try and draw these players, because if the bomb tries to come back through mid, it's done for.
Oh no. They've overthought it, and now Borup has the chance to just close this round by himself. So many weakened players pushing towards him. He gets caught in a bit of an awkward spot, but the kills may just be good enough. And Mattis, shredding the last two players, puts himself into the round win purely off the basis of time. Man, ENCE were their own worst enemies in that round, Hawker. So many opportunities.
ENCE just hoping that that mid area would be tradable and that they could just get out onto A, but the time was never on their side. Poddy not able to get the close range kill. Fear looking for more. He's out of ammo. The trade's favoring ENCE early, and Borup completely caught out on mid.
It's a head scratcher. You'd expect the second player to be there for Borup to pull a grenade out, but it may not end up mattering as Yambo gets two but can't transfer across for the third. And now the A2 against Mattis, the way these guys have been playing, the fact that Mattis is aware to the position, you would favor him to probably win out on this. And the A2's had a bit of a rough map. 7 kills to him, 18 to Mattis, who will not respect the smoke. We know this guy's going to hold W if it's on his keyboard, and he goes in again and shatters the dreams of ENCE. 4 map points now on the side of fnatic.
Overperforming with just that MP9, and now ENCE decides, screw it, we're done with these rounds. We're just going to go for the fast A.
Oh, Yambo misses not for the first time. He's had a rough series. A great flash though, but it's a similar scenario. Tons of damage inflicted across the ENCE, but they're able to just take the brunt of it, repel the invaders, plant their flag on the site with the bomb. And now fnatic have a choice to make. Your money is still in rough shape. You have a buffer of rounds. You don't need to go in for this, but Sundar Young knows there's at least one player around the corner. He can smell that weakness and exploits the vulnerabilities. Set up for a save, but they may not end up taking anything out of this round. BlameF shut down by Glaive. And ENCE will save one of these map points. But, like, really, if you go back to that round, Hawker, there was multiple opportunities. Like, Yambo not getting any kills on the push there with his AWP is rough to start off with. And the second player with the MP9, I believe it was, did a lot of damage to 3 players, but wasn't able to capitalize with a kill on any of them.
And this time, things can't get overcomplicated in the same way they did previously. Now Poddy won't be able to land that flick. The boost from Yambo catches him out. fnatic may not have the ideal weaponry here, but that's an opening pick. He's got to be careful. A double stack that he's able to deal with.
Rattling domes of the AK or even the A1S, but now they're moving in. It's not just about the fact that Yambo hurt them. He can tell the rest of his teammates, but Fear turns his back at the worst possible moment. And now Yambo around the corner. The Shadow's going to give his position away. Oh, it did look in that 3v3 like Yambo had just perfectly timed that rotation back around from Cave. But instead it is ENCE that saved their skin again.
Will it be enough for fnatic to take this over the line? Yambo gets posted on mid early, but the flash gives away that there's an AWP in position. Meanwhile, Poddy holding, but Yambo goes for the refight, and he wins it with confidence.
And he's just making sure, because obviously you get unscoped and you're trying to move back around the corner. He's not sure if SDY is holding that tight angle, and that allows him to focus his attention down onto ramp, but he misses.
Oh, he gets another opportunity. He's actually having to reload right now, and the molly will force him into the open, but he's given his team an advantage. And 35 seconds for ENCE. They may feel like they just have to commit here into B.
Yeah, they do. They've got no control over middle. No one around A to try and pincer in for a wraparound. It is B or bust, and it's looking like the latter rather than the former. It's looking like Anubis is calling in our series. Glaive had a stormer of a first map, but this is Mattis once again, alongside Fear, to take us to Anubis. This elimination match is going the distance. Yes, and one of the reasons why we're discussing ENCE have been a roster for quite some time is that they've been together in this five for 5 months. Whereas fnatic quite literally just had a standing join. So, yeah, there'll definitely be questions asked, and Blame F. Oh, the USP rattles 2 heads and forces him away from middle straight away.
Oh, Blame F feeling it now. He wants a little more and maybe a little too much. Netu deals with that aggression. And now SDY able to find one more with the P250. Suddenly fnatic could be in trouble here. There's a team kill in the mix, and now Fear's the only man remaining. This got very weird very quickly, and it is going to be, wow, what a weird round. I don't even know what to say, Vince. I mean, I will say Blame F maybe overextending slightly, getting a little too excited after those 2 kills, but you can't blame him. And wow, SDY with the Mac 10 farming frags. 2-0 lead for ENCE, just like that. In that previous Anubis map from fnatic. He hasn't pushed all the way this time, though, and with good reason. Double back to the B site where the aggression begins from ENCE. It's Kaspersky with the initial kill, and now Mattis has it all to do. And it's a good shot from SDY to put him down and, honestly, put this round to bed.
I love this aggression. It's just uncontrollable. ENCE just straight up rushing onto the site. Nothing too spectacular about the set play, like pretty standard smokes and flashes going off. But enough about fnatic's performance on Rush. Oh, that's a big kill, though. Kaspersky, I mean, you mentioned SDY, and that's very fair. Fantastic series. Kaspersky, though, has been a real contender. There's that secondary unit, especially on Ancient. Mattis deciding he wants to get aggro again. No huge surprise there, especially with the outcome. 2 kills, baits himself for Fear to try and capitalize onto SDY. He's not got the kill just yet. Needs to make sure he doesn't fall prey, because a 3v3 would afford ENCE some luxuries with 40 seconds left.
ENCE have utility. Will they get him off the angle? Yes, they will, but there's still assistance here with Borup behind the AWP. Forced to tuck into the corner, meanwhile smoke down. Yambo goes forwards. That is such a risk, and it costs him. He's going to go down, but Borup is still close by, and that bomb plant, it's finally coming in. Looks like fnatic may set up a retake, and Borup goes in first, but SDY is wreaking havoc. A quad kill on the round, and now Blame F on the flank will do what he can. He finally handles SDY. But this position from Netu will be hard to clear. He could have got anywhere, and Blame F is having to look at so many different angles. There's nothing he can do, and there's nothing fnatic can do right now. ENCE are untouchable.
That is 5 rounds played, and SDY has the MVP in each and every one of them. 13 kills, a 4K, But I am alongside with you, man. That peak, that push from Yambo in the smoke with like 10 seconds left on the time, that's madness. I mean, surely you want to play more passively and allow Borup to also have more of a chance to spray them down on the approach. That feels like a play that was so indecisive.
He's forced back. Remember, Vince, it was that CT aggression from fnatic that was so successful for them against Gamer Legion earlier. Finally, they're able to get some success off that as it's Borup with the opener.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if ENCE have seen that, and that's why they're dialing in the aggression up to 11. It doesn't really allow fnatic to get into position to push because you're so worried about these peaks coming in. And Kaspersky onto Fear, separate angle. Mattis unable to transfer the spray downwards. A difficult skill to possess. Yambo keeps this round alive, but maybe cognizant of a second player in Temple. Takes a speculative shot and falls back. You'll be smoked out of position now, and that should afford ENCE the chance to get across and get the bomb plant in. Burp may be in con, but he's going to arrive too late to deny the bomb plant, but not too late for the double. And finally, fnatic have something to be excited by as they pick up their first round on the map.
They've got to keep that up here. ENCE obviously have money in the bank with how well this game started for them. Utility in, but it's SDY taking aggression this time. Not normally his game, but he's found a nice pick onto Mattis there.
Feed the hot hand, man. If he's playing like this, why not? Let him do whatever the hell he wants to do. He's hitting a form that we don't see very often. And I agree, he is one of his main factors, one of his main strengths is his undying sort of chill atmosphere and aura around him. Never seems flustered, never seems to get knocked off keel. A star entry fragger is not something you typically label alongside SDY. Blame F in the meanwhile, though, is at least going to take one kill alongside it, but kind of the worst case scenario on fnatic. Like, you finally win a round, you mess with the round loss bonus a little bit, and then you instantly concede. They're desperately trying to grab control of this AWP, but the smoke is going to deny that from being a possibility. And Borup, he now needs to think about trying to save onto the AK. I thought he might use that grenade to try and funnel the AWP back into his hands, but instead, he's just hiding behind the smoke. He's fully committing, mainly off the basis that they don't have control over A. So it's like, where do you fall back to at this point, where you feel safe, where you feel secure? But you've got to keep these weapons if you're fnatic. And some die young. He's in hot pursuit. He wants to try and deny one of these guns. Doesn't look like it'll happen. Borup does go for the peak. Needs to be super careful. But there will be no AWP.
And for fnatic, they've got to put their faith in something. Maybe a higher power at this point, because 7-1 down and not looking likely to win rounds. And this boost coming in again. Yambo wants this off angle. And it won't work. Poddy's ready for it.
That gives him a lot of intel as well, because there's no step ladder or stilts that you can buy in this game, so they know it's going to be a boost. The two players at least were fully committed onto the angle, but it's a hit and run. Make fnatic sweat this one. Mattis does what he knows best, and that's aggressive plays. Kaspersky in the smoke, though. Oh, they've went past one another. I think now he's realized he's gone back into check and finds Kaspersky, who must be so confused. So belligerent at that kill taking shape. The audacity for Mattis to push once again. But some die young, and Poddy are going to get themselves involved, and Mattis comes out second best. Fear has gone from hero on the last map to 0, quite literally 0-9. And ENCE up to an 8-1 lead already.
Some utility of his own, though. This A aggression has worked in the past for fnatic against Gamer Legion. This time, it works okay, but SDY is still there. 18 kills now in this half, and there might be way more where that came from.
But he doesn't care, man. He's playing everything. He's holding angles, he's playing aggressive, he's getting entries. And now Glaive has a HE, he's a parting gift, but it does bank off the wall. Smoke there as well, though, delivered. Now Mattis all alone to try and stand up against the remainder of the T's who have already spilled out onto the site. That was nearly something special, nearly something spectacular. But with him on that double kill, it has given Jambo and Fear a chance. But collectively, they have 1 kill as we are in round 10. 0 for Fear, 1 for Yambo. Fear with a spray through the smoke, and Yambo with the FAMAS going to try and close the gap. See if he can maybe remedy this situation. There's one. And although Yambo goes down, Fear is able to capitalize with his first kill and fnatic's second round.
ENCE couldn't really get into better post-plant positions. You know, if that bomb wasn't dropped back behind, they can plant that bomb a little sooner, they can get into better post-plant spots, and that could be a completely different post-plant. But instead, fnatic keep them stuck on the site. They still need more though, and SDY again wants fights, and they just keep feeding him. He finds one, damage onto Fear, and Kaspersky chucks Yambo down low as well.
I think I saw SDY's knife was called Demon Slayer, and I think that's so apt because he has been the kryptonite for Mattis. How many times on this map have we seen him just 1v1 kill Mattis dead on the spot?
Yeah, that makes such a difference. And now this mid-aggression for fnatic may be handled by Glaive. Yambo was maybe a little ahead of his teammate there. Borup not in position to quite trade. He now goes in with the FAMAS, but FAMAS v AK at this range, you're not that confident, especially when there's different angles, and he's completely locked in by Poddy. ENCE aware of every possibility, and fnatic's mid-round aggression gets them nowhere.
MF may have the timing, one more position that he can try and strike from. This has not been a series to remember from his perspective, but now he'll have to make it memorable. 3 more players to find, and I think he's already had half a mind to save. With 1 more round in the half coming up, he wants to hold on to this AK. He is faking as if he's saving over on the A side of the map, however, but no one is close enough, I think, to even relay that information. They may have heard it in the distance. That's what Blame is playing for. He does also have a kit. Keep that in mind. He's hoping and praying that that smoke is doing enough to interfere with the positions of the T's. Nietu doing his due diligence, and there will be no shenanigans afoot in this round. ENCE 9-2 in the lead.
It puts fnatic down in a 4v4, and they've taken damage. They feel like they need some mid-round aggression, but that's exactly what ENCE were hoping for. And now again, it's another pick. This time, Mattis tries to play around mid, and Netu deals with Blame F. This is not going well. fnatic trying to find some way back in. Fear has to fall back. This is just all ENCE right now. Fear goes back in. It actually works for one, but SDY able to trade his teammate.
Such a sick flick from Poddy up in middle. Yeah, you can see Mattis was trying to break from the shackles one more time. Yambo next on the chopping block, and Poddy will happily be the executioner. I was going to say call an ambulance for fnatic, but maybe it's better to just call a hearse at this stage, because this game feels like it's done. Borup, at least he has the benefit of not being spotted thus far, and, well, that's not going to remain the case for too much longer. 10-2. Oof. Second half coming up. Pistol round. fnatic on the T side, of course. And yeah, I do agree. Yambo hasn't really fully arrived yet on the server. Maybe he's leaving it for a spectacular final act in this best of 3. But Kaspersky splatters the stand-in of Borup, the Dane.
Other players. But while this is happening, ENCE are going aggressive on mid. We'll see if they decide to drop down for the fast flank. They do indeed, and SDY dropping down onto Blame F, and Kaspersky gets a couple more kills of his own as that solo site anchor. I mean, it wasn't even a terrible idea for fnatic. It felt like they were going to get into an okay position.
In the kind of crazy statistic here as well, if you look at the kills on both teams, Subdayoung nearly has the entire fnatic covered by himself with 22. Nietu does go in for one on Borup, and would have heard the footsteps on the rugs from multiple other players, so he knows roughly what's coming up. The flash is good, but still manages to trap with the FAMAS for 2 kills and land the hen shot onto Blame F. That's a valiant last stand for Nietu, and this round is going to go the same way, and that is off the dodo. fnatic facing extinction. I mean, the way that this game has been going, Hawker, I feel like all events could be on 1 HP and they still come out and win this round.
Yeah, honestly, feels like it. Kaspersky with a nice kill onto Mattis. More players fighting, and Kaspersky decides to tuck back. Gotta say, for Glaive, as an in-game leader, it must be a dream map when you are 4 and 5 and your team is winning 12-2. He hasn't had to do a whole deal, but he might have to in this round because Blame F finally activates on mid. That's a big double kill. There are still 2 CTs towards B. It is the 2 low health players, and That Molly, oh man, Glaive is screwed, surely. He's done for. Kaspersky would need something special here. He's going to try and sneak through the smoke, but no dice. Nothing doing. Fear is wise to that trick. And SDY, however good he's been, even he's not a believer in this one.
So don't throw away this A4. Don't screw the economy early on. One moment of magic, one moment of brilliance, and this game will end. ENCE and fnatic against the ropes. SDY gets the 1 kill and traded out by Blame F, who is somewhat coming alive. He is the top fragger by quite a considerable margin, has the highest ADR on top of that.
Yeah, I think they were clearly crunching the numbers on the ENCE side, and Kaspersky, with his extra money, decides to drop this orb over to Poddy. And it might not work out, but it actually works out okay there. Glaive gives his life to set up Poddy for the trade. Poddy still alive and still low on health. And Borup has been able to get control towards A main, so they may feel like they can quickly pop out onto this A site.
That appears to be the call, especially as Need2 has been smoked off. The utility is on point. 25 seconds, have to get the plant down behind this. Blame F has been caught as he tries to wrap into cams from middle. And so although the plant has come through successfully, Mattis losing his life is a big problem. Yambo and Borup now to try and save fnatic from elimination, from heartbreak, from the nightmare position of being in that elimination 1-3 scoreline, and it will come to pass. ENCE live to fight another day, and fnatic are gone.
Yeah, ENCE with a dominant third and final map. Wasn't sure what to expect on this one, but ENCE very quickly showed us that they were not to be trifled with, not to be messed with here on Anubis. They clearly did their homework. They dealt with that fnatic aggression.